All right. How's everyone doing today? It is Friday, January 26th. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Qierre and Wesley Show. I am your host, Qierre McGlory, realtor and author of The Blueprint to Successfully Selling Your Home. Along with me, my co-host, my business partner, my lender, Mr. Money Man himself, Mr. Wesley Oliver, Axia Home Loans, sales manager of Orange County. How are you doing today?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm doing well. So let's talk about this. This money right here. You know, it's funny. Like, I've been getting a lot of texts, a lot of emails, a lot of phone calls. People talking to me directly, like, "Hey, Qierre, how can I get some of this free money?" You know, and today let's talk about how people can get free money to purchase their first home.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's turn to you, sir.
Okay, so let's start here as far as like why this is such an important thing and why it's such a great thing.
Okay.
So when they there was one particular poll where they asked current renters, why are you not a homeowner? Why are you still a renter? 57% of them said because we can't afford the down payment, the closing costs. So when you have programs like these that help, and that typically is the biggest issue people have with becoming a homeowner. Right, because your income is your income.
Correct.
Right. And then, of course, you have to take care of your credit, which most people are taking care of their credit now. They're more hypersensitive to their credit.
Yeah.
So the last piece of the puzzle is, where am I going to get the money for the down payment and the closing cost? Now, the troubling part about that, especially in places like Orange County, is rents are pretty high, right?
Oh, yes. I would say average rent is easily over $1,800. And and you're looking at a one bedroom in most cities in Orange County.
Right. So you have quite a few people who are renting that are already close to paying the mortgage as far as renting.
Correct.
So it's really hard to save and put away money when you do that. The average person puts away about $200 per month.
Okay.
Right? Even if you were to put away, say, $500 a month, and you just needed, like, say, $20,000.
Wow.
You're still looking at, 4 years before you have enough money.
Exactly.
And last week we talked about the cost of waiting with interest rates in a rising interest rate environment and sales prices going up. So CalHFA, which is an organization, and we'll just start with this one. It's an organization that's been around actually for 40 years. Okay. And the whole goal of that organization is to help create more home buyers throughout the state of California. So how they're able to do that, they bridge the gap where they solve that issue we have with people wanting to buy a home but not having the funds to be able to do it.
Right, exactly. I mean, especially if you bring up an average person puts away $200 a month,
right,
and in some cases maybe $500 a month, you're still out, 4 years.
Exactly. So they want to help create more home buyers, right? And there's no secret to why.
Right.
People buying homes is good for the overall economy.
You hear that? Yes. Buying homes is good.
Yeah, there have been some reports that say as much as $50,000 in revenues are generated in the local area when someone buys a home.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So it's good for everybody. I mean, aside from all the business it creates for people that are actually in, the real estate market.
Right.
Your title people, your escrow people, your lenders, your appraisers, home inspection people, termite people. I mean, that's a lot of people that get fed off of one transaction.
Exactly.
Right?
Definitely.
So what they do is they have what's called and this is what's called the bond program, and they have what's called what we call a silent second. Okay. So what they're doing essentially is they're giving you a loan. Right? Or up to 2 loans.
Up to 2 loans.
Yep. For your down payment as well as your closing cost. Right?
Wow. Okay.
So let's say for your down payment, they are willing to provide you with a loan, a silent second, of up to 3.5% to buy a home for your down payment. And that's 3.5% of the purchase price.
Okay. So, that kind of sounds like an FHA then, or that sounds like FHA with a 3.5% down.
Well, not necessarily, because here's the thing.
Okay.
So if you're buying a single-family residence and you're using conventional financing, you're only required to put down 3%.
Yeah, okay.
So you actually could get a conventional loan putting less down than you would on an FHA.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
But there is the caveat. It does have to be a single-family residence. If you're buying something like a condo, now you have to put down 5%.
Okay, and that's 5% conventional, or you
Right.
can do the 3.5%.
3.5%
Okay.
FHA.
Okay.
Right. And some people tend to want, if you're looking at condos, the ideal situation is conventional, only because the condominium complex has to be FHA approved. So it restricts your search criteria and your availability.
I see.
Right? Since so many condominium complexes have allowed their FHA approval to lapse. Right?
Yes.
So they're giving you up to 3.5% for your down payment. And then you can combine that with an additional program where they'll give you up to 4% to use towards your closing costs.
Jeez, up to 4%.
Up to 4%.
So you're looking at, that's 7.5% right there.
7.5%.
Okay.
7.5%.
Yeah.
So, that's a great program, and that's a great opportunity for people. So, because they're silent seconds, right? Because I know people are thinking, well, I'm going to have already a primary mortgage. Am I going to have to pay on these other two loans?
Right.
The answer is no, not for a while.
Oh, okay.
The reason they're called silent seconds is because they don't require a payment until you pay off the primary mortgage.
Okay.
So your primary mortgage is going to be a 30-year fixed program.
Okay.
And so at the end of that 30-year period, that's when you would start making payment on the silent second loans.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. So your monthly payment is only going to be based off of just the primary, not your primary loan, not your second.
Right.
And okay.
And the payment for the second loans are not calculated in your debt to income ratio, so they don't affect you as far as qualifying either.
Wow, did you guys hear that? That second loan doesn't adjust your debt to income ratio. No. So all they focus on is just your primary for that.
Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now also with one of the programs, the interest rate charged on that second loan is 0%. So whatever you owe today, 30 years from now, that's what you owe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now also the other program, they charge a simple interest of right now, the rate is only 2.5%.
Okay.
So what that means is that if you were to borrow, say, $10,000.
Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, I actually brought something to write stuff down, right? Yeah, so we can use examples. All right, cool. All right, so you say 10K.
Right. So that means that balance would
10K.
go up.
Can you guys see that? I wrote 10K on here. All right.
That balance will go up $250 annually.
Okay. So how do I write that down, Wes? You kind of I wrote down 10K. So what do I do with the 250?
I would say 250 annually. 250 increase annually.
$250.
Yep. Annually.
Increase.
That's the interest charge.
Annually. Okay. Right. So is there like what would you say the years for that?
Still 30 years because that's
you're
primarily going to pay off the primary mortgage.
Okay, so the 10K, and you see it. So that's about $250 annually.
Right.
Okay.
And then if you sell the property prior to the 30 years, all that happens is you will pay off all three loans at the close of escrow.
Okay.
And then if you refinance, which is really cool, they will just allow you to refinance and subordinate the other two loans, which means you don't have to pay them off. They're going to stay right where they are. They don't change.
Okay.
You're just able to refinance that first mortgage.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have to pay that off. So, like I said, to be able to have those kinds of funds, basically being provided for you by the state, that's awesome. Now, I will say this. So, you're going to need to save a little bit of money.
Okay.
Right? And the reason for that is because the way the program works, the funds will not be provided until the close of escrow, right?
Okay.
So what that means is you're going to have to be able to get yourself out of the starting blocks on your own.
Okay.
So there's primarily three areas that you need to worry about when purchasing a home that you have to kind of worry about your finances.
Okay, so 3 areas.
Yes.
All right.
So your first
3 areas you got to worry about.
Your first one is your good faith deposit.
Good faith deposit. good faith deposit, also known as a good faith estimate.
Right.
Okay.
And as you know, that's an agreed upon amount between you and the seller. So, I mean, that amount could be $500. It could be $1,000. I tell most people just to assume it's going to be 1% of the purchase price.
Yeah. So, so normally what we see when it comes to a good faith deposit or a good faith estimate, it's usually between 1% and 3% of the purchase price.
Yeah.
So, say you have to say 1 to 3%
right.
of purchase price. So, good faith deposit, 1 to 3% of purchase price. So that's one of the areas.
Right. So if you're buying a $300,000 property, that means you might need to have $3,000 available for that good faith deposit.
Correct. $3,000 or $9,000.
Right. Secondly, you're going to pay for your home inspection.
Okay, a home inspection. Now, typically a home inspection can run, I normally see about $350.
Right.
So I usually see that. So home inspection, $350, right?
Right.
So home inspection, $350. Okay.
And then you're going to pay for your appraisal.
Your appraisal?
Yep.
Okay.
And that, I would say, a good average is about $550.
Okay. Pretty conservative.
That's actually a little more than what we charge, but I'm being conservative compared to what we charge.
Right. Okay, so appraisal, $550.
Right.
All right, so 3 areas right there. So you have good faith deposit, normally between 1% and 3% of the purchase price. Home inspection, it's normally about $350. If you work with me, I'll give you guys a little discount. And then the appraisal is normally about $550.
Right.
So these are the 3 areas. These are the 3 things or funds you would actually need to have, right, before you actually close escrow. So these are things that are going to be need to pay up front.
Right. So at the end of the transaction, once all the fees are provided, let's say you provided the $5,000 good faith deposit.
Yes.
If those funds were not needed to close the transaction after you received the funds from the program, then you'll get those back at close.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So you can get those back at the close. So that's basically what that program does. Now, that's available for conventional financing, VA financing, FHA financing. As far as the types of property, you can't buy anything that's on more than 5 acres of land.
Okay.
If you're buying something manufactured, it'll have to be a double wide, and you'll have to use FHA financing.
Okay.
It cannot be leased land, so you can't buy anything with leased land.
Okay.
Condos are, of course, acceptable. Townhomes, single-family residences, nothing that's like part of a co-op.
Okay.
And that's basically it when it comes to the type of properties.
Okay.
Okay. So the most important thing, or the most important question is, how do you qualify for the program?
That's a very good question, and I'm glad you're moving there because we actually had a question from Khan. How's it going, Khan? He actually asked, what is the minimum credit score to qualify for this silent second? Is it still 620?
No. So here's basically, there are 5 things that you have to do to be able to qualify. All really simple. And I would say
5 things. All right.
And this is probably going to be the easiest money you ever get from the state.
5 things.
So first and foremost, you have your income limits. So
income limit. Okay.
Every county has their own income limit, which is based on the area median income.
Okay.
Right. So obviously, someone who's buying in Orange County is going to be allowed to make more money than someone who's buying in, say, Riverside or San Bernardino County.
Okay.
So I was really shocked last week when I got the memo from College FA, because what they used to do is they used to basically start off with a certain number that you qualify for, and it was based on how many people were in the household.
Right.
So Orange County used to be, say, 83,000 for a household of 1. Then it'd move up to, say, like 94,000 for a household of 2.
Okay.
Then maybe like 103,000 for a household of 3. So I got the memo last week. They said, we're done with that.
Okay.
Okay. We don't care how many people are in the house. If you're buying in Orange County, your income just needs to be at 174,000 or less. Now, I don't know a whole lot of people who make 174,000, but they said 174,000.
174,000. So
Yes.
that's the income limit in Orange County.
That is the
Now is
income
that
limit.
just like a one person or
Does
is that
not
two
matter.
person? Does not matter. You hear that? Doesn't matter. So income limit in Orange County is 174, regardless if it's a single person or a married person. It's 174. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And where we're going to see the biggest impact, where we're going to be able to help the most people, is going to be in places like Riverside and San Bernardino County.
Okay.
Because their starting point used to be about $56,000 for a household of one.
Yeah.
They would move up to like $64,000 for a household of two, $73,000. They said, we're done with that.
Okay.
$128,000. Oh, I'm sorry. LA County had the same limits as Riverside and San Bernardino. So now they're all $128,000 now.
Okay, so LA, well, all
San
the counties,
Bernardino,
San Bernardino,
Riverside, you're up to 128 now.
128.
128. Doesn't matter how many people are in the house.
Wow, look at that. So Los Angeles County, San Bernardino County, Riverside County,
Yes.
128,000.
Right. So
Yes.
that's step one.
Okay.
You can't make too much money, which 174,000.
That's not bad. That's not a bad living.
No, and I can tell you that's really important because people have avoided, trying to get qualified for these programs for years because they always thought that you had to be, low income or really low income or,
Right.
That's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
So step two.
Step two.
To answer the question.
Step two.
You just need to have a credit score of 640 points.
Credit score 640.
And that means that every borrower.
Credit score 640. Credit score 640.
Yeah, every borrower. So if a husband and a wife are purchasing together, they both need to have a credit score of at least 640 points.
Okay.
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 Step three.
Step three.
Your maximum sales price on the home is going to be $660,000 for FHA. And then if you're using conventional, it's going to be the current maximum, which is, I believe, $451,000. And that's the current maximum for, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac.
Okay, so conventional, it's the 451K.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so see that? 660K for FHA loans, and then 451K for conventional loans.
Yep.
All right.
Step four. If you're using one of their programs that happens to be a first-time home buyer, then you have to complete a home buyer education course, which you can actually go to a venue. I actually prefer, and most of my clients prefer doing it online because the online option allows you to basically start and stop and kind of take your time. So like if you have a free 30 minutes, you can log in, complete a module, log out, put it down, come back to it on Saturday.
Okay.
Right.
So step four, complete home buyer workshop. No, I know HB can stand for Huntington Beach Workshop, but it's not. It's home buyer workshop. So make sure step four is to complete a home buyer workshop.
Right. And the company that they use for the online version, it's at a cost of $100.
Okay.
Okay.
So it costs $100 to do the program.
Yes.
Okay.
Step five. Your maximum debt to income ratio allowed in the program is going to be 45% of your gross monthly income. Now, why this is important is because if you were doing a standard conventional right now, you could go up to 50% of your gross. If you were doing an FHA, you could go up to as high as 56.9% of your gross.
Mm-hmm.
So they are capping you, they are capping you as far as how much house you can qualify for.
And what was that number again?
45%.
Yeah, 45% debt to income ratio.
Yes.
Okay.
And what they're doing is they're being responsible and making sure that they're kind of restricting you from overextending yourself and buying too much house your first time out. Right?
Right.
And this particular organization, they have like one of the lowest turnover ratios as far as people, entering into a situation where they're in a, distressed property where they have to do a short sale or something like that. So what they're doing is really working, And then lastly, so you have to work with an organization or a company like Axia Home Loans, that has been approved by CalHFA to offer these programs to the public.
Approved company.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, once you're working with the company, you then have to be working with a licensed loan officer who is also approved by them to offer these programs.
So you got to work with an approved CalHFA company, like Axia Home Loans.
Yes. And an approved loan originator for CalHFA, which is someone like me. And then
approved loan originator, like Wesley.
Now the cool thing about this organization, one of the best things is they are self-funded. Okay, So years ago, when California was talking about close to going bankrupt,
yes,
they were not going to be affected by that because they're self-funded. Okay. So because they're self-funded, one of the things they do typically, as a lender, your compensation comes from the investor, and that's all kind of baked into the cake.
Yes.
Because they fund themselves and they want to remain lean and mean, it's up to the lender basically to charge the buyer, to be compensated.
Okay.
Right? But they do cap how much you can charge. So you can't charge more than 1.5%. And that 1.5% basically is going to be covered by the closing cost program you're using anyway.
Right, exactly.
Right?
Yes.
So that's how that works.
Okay.
And then as far as the interest rate is concerned, because that's another question people have, well, what's my interest rate going to be? Well, the answer to that question is it depends on how much assistance you need. Because now they have a tiered system when it comes to the interest rate.
Okay.
And long story short, the more assistance you choose to use, the higher your interest rate is going to be.
Okay.
So let's say you don't want any closing cost assistance. You just want the down payment assistance.
Okay.
Then that's going to be your lowest rate. So the other day, I haven't looked at it today. The other day on an FHA, it was 3.625%. Conventional was 4.125.
Okay.
If you want 3% for closing costs, in addition to the 3.5% for your down payment, your rate would have been 5%. If you wanted 4% for your closing costs and down payment, then that would have been 5.125% the other day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's the long and short of it. And then also I want to put this disclaimer out there as well.
Okay.
Interesting story. I was talking to a real estate broker, and we were talking about these programs, and he says, "Well, nobody will accept those programs. It's going to be hard to get an offer accepted."
Right.
I'm here to tell you, I've been doing these programs for going on 5 years now, and I have had no difficulties, getting someone's offer accepted. Are there, sellers who choose to pass on that every now and again? Sure. And by the way, getting the offers accepted with a 1%,
right?
1% good faith deposit. That's why I threw that number out there, because in most cases that's what it's been. So we have had no challenges with that. But the reason I haven't had any challenges with that is because I have an intimate knowledge of the programs, because I use them often, I work with them often, and so whoever you're working with has to be ready to go to bat and pick up the phone and talk to the listing agent.
And for personal experience, Wes does that with all our clients, and it works.
Right. So, and you have to be able to explain to them exactly what the program is and how it works. Because here's the biggest problem. It's one of those situations where everybody kind of knows something about it, but no one really knows anything about it.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So most realtors, and this is even true in a lot of cases for loan officers, they've kind of heard about these programs,
right? And
there's some misconceptions, and so they think it works one way, and they think they know, but they don't know what they don't know, right? And unfortunately, they're operating under what they think they know,
right?
So, like I said, you pick up the phone, call them, you lay out for them how the program works, right? And CalHFA is really transparent. So one of the biggest misconceptions as far as this particular program is that it works like some of the other down payment assistance programs, which you and I encountered recently.
Yes.
Where you're dealing with the county, you're dealing with the city, and you have to get in line, like at the DMV,
right?
And they'll push your file. When they push your file, and they have to do everything from start to finish, and you're just at their mercy.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
With this particular program, the lender does everything from start to finish. So we process it, we underwrite it, we fund it. We even actually use our own funds to fund the loan, and then they reimburse us later.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there's only one thing that they do after you get a full underwritten approval from Axia Home Loans. Then we have to send the file up to them.
Okay.
And they're not going to re-underwrite the file. They're only verifying that you are eligible for the program. That's all they're doing.
I see.
And that usually takes about 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
Matter of fact, they have a little ticker tape on their website.
Okay.
You can go on there anytime, day or night. They will tell you what date that they're working on. Like, okay, we're working on files we received on January 26th.
Okay.
And they'll tell you how many files they're working on. Very transparent. So it's not a longer process.
Okay, so you're still, right, because I mean, I guess I would imaginally think, most people would think, oh, okay, so you're looking at a 45-day, 60-day escrow for this.
Right, no, not at all. I've done plenty of these in 30 days, okay? And one of the things we do to make sure that we don't have that problem is we're going to go ahead and get your file completely approved by the underwriter before you even find the house.
Yes, and like I said, you do that with all our clients.
Yeah.
So it just makes the package so much better to do that as opposed to any doubt, like, hey, have they already gone through underwritten?
Right.
Like, are you sure they qualify? When it comes to Wes, he gets all that stuff out of the way. So when we do present offers, like he said, he calls the lender. I mean, he calls the listing agent. You know, he introduces himself. He introduces our clients. He explains the process. He explains what he's already done with them and how smooth this process is going to be. So then I get a call like, hey, you know, I just spoke to your lender, Wesley. You know, he's so professional. He definitely made me feel comfortable about accepting your client's offer, and his offers accepted. So
so we're getting that taken care of, you know, right up front, and then, like I said, the process itself of getting the money is simple, right? Because we're funding it ourselves, and unlike some of the county and the state program or the city programs, you know, they don't run out of funding, right? So one of the things you hear people say is, well, you know, I don't know if I want to take this offer because, you know, what if the funds don't come through?
Right, exactly. Right?
Which is a fair shake. But my rebuttal to that is, well, what if your person that is you accept the offer from is depending on gift funds, and the person who's gifting the funds decides to pull that offer?
Oh, yes. Yeah, that has happened to us before, hasn't it?
Yes, it has. So, the state of California, if you qualify, you qualify. You're getting the funds. You're not going to be like, oh, we don't want to give them to you. We want to go invest in something else or go on vacation. You know what I'm saying? So it's a great program, and it's helped so many people. You know, like I said, personally, I've helped a lot of people, and some of them actually got a little bit of money back at the end, so they didn't pay anything. Some of them paid like a couple thousand. Some paid maybe like $4,000, just depending on what price range you're talking about. But these are all people who are renting, who would probably still be renting right now, that are in homes now. Right. And fortunately for them, you know, they took advantage of these programs when the rates were a lot better. You know what I'm saying? So, because if they had to wait until now, with the market going up, right? You know, because they have to save for even a larger down payment at that point. Yeah, I mean, I have clients right now that I help with these programs that have an interest rate of 3.25%. You know, yeah. So, bottom line is, this is a great program. Like, if the only thing you're missing, the only dot you can't connect, is that you don't have, you know, all of your down payment funds or all your closing costs. You know, it's well worth it. It's well worth it. So, you know, what I can do is I can essentially microwave the home buying process for you. Okay. It's going to take you 4 years to save the money. Well, why don't we try this, and you'll be in a house within 2 months. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I like that. I like that analogy. Yeah, and like I said, it's a great opportunity. It's a great program, and you know, like I said, I just thank God for it. And I wish when I bought my first property back in 2001, because CalHFA was still around back then, I wish I had known about it.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of people don't know about it because no one's talking about it.
Well, for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
And, obviously, if like you said, like for lenders, as an example, you have to meet these certain criteria. Your company has to be, approved for it.
Sure.
And also, as the loan officer, lender, loan originator, whatever you like to be called, you also have to be approved to do these, to utilize these programs. So,
and I'll tell you that, just being candid, the reason, not more lenders don't work with these programs or offer these programs is because they're a little more work for us. Because we're dealing with 3 loan files instead of 1,
right?
Technically, because everything's a triplicate,
right?
So it takes more elbow grease, and you're not making as much,
right?
Because I said CalHFA is not here to help you, become a fat cat in the mortgage industry,
right?
It's like we have these great programs. We'll let you charge a reasonable fee to, basically keep your doors open and whatnot, and you help these good people get in the homes.
Yeah.
Yep. Great program. So, and like I said, now that I've watched the program more for the last 5 years, right? And all the changes they've made. Man, they are really they're like, guys, would you please buy a house already? It's literally like they're saying, like, you guys have run out of excuses. Please buy a house. Please.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So like, would we be able to do kind of like an example?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. All right. So
trusty calculator, aka my cell phone, that has the calculator function.
Okay. So let's use whole numbers. So I'll just do, let's say, purchase price $500,000.
Okay. So let's say 500,000.
500,000. All right.
Now, even though the conventional you can't go over 450, we'll just work with it.
Okay.
Okay, so your minimum down payment, right? Okay, so your minimum down payment would be 3%. That's going to be 15,000.
Okay. So down payment 15,000.
Right.
So down payment 15,000. Okay.
So right off the bat, they're giving you $17,500 that you can use for your down payment and or closing costs.
So CalHFA is giving you how much?
$17,500.
$17,500.
Right. So essentially, what you're going to do.
So CalHFA is giving you $17,500. Okay.
Right. So essentially, what you're going to do.
Yes.
You're going to put down that $15,000, and you're going to roll that additional $2,500 over to the closing cost side of the ledger.
Oh wow. Okay. Right? Yes.
So then, if you choose to use closing costs, now the closing cost loan is going to be based on the net loan amount. So it's actually going to be based on $485,000.
Okay, because net loan amount. Okay.
Yeah.
Net
so
loan, okay.
At 4%,
$85,000.
Yep.
Okay.
So at 4%, you're getting an additional $19,400.
4%, $19,400. $19,400.
Yep.
Okay. That extra 4% is that the closing costs?
Yep.
Okay.
That's the closing cost.
Okay, so 4% for your second loan, you're getting an additional $19,400.
Right.
Okay.
So when you roll over that additional $2,500, you actually have up to $21,900 to deal with for your closing costs.
Because you're adding the $2,500.
Right.
Okay, so plus $2,500 equals $21,900.
Right.
So that's the total amount of the CalHFA assistance you're getting.
For your closing costs.
For your closing costs.
Yeah.
Okay.
The total altogether for the entire program.
So the closing cost you're getting is $21,900.
Right. So altogether, you're getting $36,900 for the purchase of a home. To use toward the purchase of a home.
$36,900.
Now,
so your total assistance that you're getting from the CalHFA loan is $36,900.
Right.
Okay, $36,900. Sorry for the horrible handwriting. I do my best handwriting when I type.
Right. Now, in that scenario, right, we talked about earlier, so you have somebody who's putting away $500 a month.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So that's $6,000 a year.
Correct.
Right? They need $36,900 today to be able to purchase a home. Right? So you divide that by 6,000, and they're looking at 6.1 years before they get in the housing market.
You hear that? So if you don't have this program and you're looking just to put money away for your down payment, it's going to take you over 6 years to actually get to the down payment. And this is going based off of if home prices just stay flat.
Right.
You know, because if they're continuously going up, obviously this $36,900 is going to go up
right.
too.
So now you got to ask yourself, just logically, if you're a logical thinker, 6 years from now, do you think interest rates will be higher than they are today or lower than they are today?
I would say higher.
Okay. 6 years from now, get the crystal ball out. Do you think sales prices will be higher than they are today or lower than they are today?
We don't see any typical slowdown at this moment. So
right.
We're going with prices are going to be higher.
Right. So today, if you were to look at properties priced in the $500,000 price range,
right,
in a particular city, just pull it out the air, whatever, Anaheim Hills, whatever.
Okay.
Right? Well, I don't know what that looks like today, but I know whatever it looks like 6 years from now is going to be a lot less than what it looks like today.
Oh, for sure.
So like today, you might be able to find a property, maybe a 3-bedroom condo or something like that, with a garage.
Yes.
And 6 years from now, you might only be able to get a studio or a 1-bedroom condo
right.
with a parking space or a carport space.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Jeez.
Right? So that right there is the urgency that we talked about and the cost of waiting that we were talking about last week. And again, my goal is not to get anyone to go buy a home that is not ready for the responsibility of being a homeowner. What I am saying is if you are ready for the responsibility of being a homeowner and you are really passionate and you know you want to be a homeowner, and the only thing stopping you is that, maybe you have a few $1,000s in the bank. Okay. Right? If that's the only thing stopping you, then you should definitely look into one of these programs. And by the way, that's why I I decided to master these programs, because at one point I was getting calls from people who wanted to buy a house, right? And most people are not aware. There's a lot of misconceptions of what it takes to buy a house. And, a lot of the population still thinks you need to put 20% down.
Yes, right? It's true. I mean, I still get people with questions like that, or people assume you still need 15-20% to put down.
Right. So I would get calls from people, and they're like, we want to be homeowners. We want to get pre-approved. I'm like, okay, great. What do you have to put down for the home? Like, what do you have saved up right now?
Right.
Oh, we got $4,000. Oh, we got $2,500. Or, we're going to dip into our 401k. And that's another important part of this program as well, because the amount of people that I've been able to, help without them having to go into their 401k.
Right, exactly.
Right. And sometimes, it's a necessary evil. Sometimes it just makes financial sense. But if I can, keep you from having to do that, dip into your retirement and be able to buy a home, so much the better for it.
Oh, for sure.
Right. So like I said, as I kept getting these calls, and then one day I was introduced to these programs, I'm like, problem, solution. Let's put them together.
Right, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, with that being said, does anyone have any other questions? All right. Also, at this time, let me check up here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so regarding this, the program, I have a question there. Can you use it for investment properties too?
Good question.
Yeah.
No. So, since you brought that up, one important thing about the type of property, So it has to be a single unit. So it can't be a multi-unit, and you can't use it for investment properties. Again, keep in mind the real purpose of these programs at the true heart of the purpose.
Yes,
is to help first-time home buyers become first-time home buyers. This is not something they created to help you get on the path to becoming a real estate mogul.
Okay.
I appreciate it, though.
Thank you for the question on Instagram Live. Thank you.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I know all about other people's money, right?
All right, exactly. Well, thank you for providing such a wealth of knowledge about this great program that I'm sure a lot of people don't know about, and now everyone should know about it now. So the question you need to ask yourself is, who wants some of this free money, right? I mean, who wants some of this free money? Don't worry, babe. I'm gonna put it back in the bank. Don't worry about it. I'm not trying to ball out or anything. I'm put this back in the bank. So this is more just of illustrative purposes. All right. Yes. So, if you guys have any questions, obviously regarding this program, contact Wes. His information is right here in the post. We want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of you guys for tuning in. People on Facebook Live, thank you guys for tuning in. People on Instagram Live, thank you guys again for tuning in. I'm glad we finally got it working. After the last few tips didn't go so well, but hey, thank you guys for logging in on Instagram Live as well. So, like I said, that being said, you guys have any questions, make sure to reach out to Wes. This video is going to be saved, so you can always replay it more than once. Take some notes, because I've taken some notes. It's a lot of good information. Like you said, thank you again, Wes, for providing all this good information. This is why I work with this guy. He's very knowledgeable. He's always teaching me new things about it. So, like I said, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and look forward to our next Facebook Live and Instagram Live next Friday. Obviously, I'll let you guys know about the topic, usually about Wednesday or Thursday. But if you guys have any specific topics you'd like us to discuss, feel free to post them. Your topics here, or you can direct message myself or Wes, or call, text, email, whatever. We can always be reached. So, anything you want to say?
Yeah, as always, be assertive, be proactive, and seriously, guys, they're really asking, like, would you please buy a home already? Please.
All right, so we are signing off. We'll see you guys next Friday.